Good morning and happy Friday, folks. I got a lot to go over, so let's get to my low, my high, my act of kindness. Okay, so long story short, the end of last night was a real annoyance because, full disclosure, obviously as a guy who lives on his own and lives in an apartment, I have to pay rent. And I keep a budget, throughout the week. In order to maintain that budget, obviously I gotta make some decisions throughout the week before, if I want something nice, I can go get it. I couldn't get anything nice last night because just as I told my folks I was gonna do, my mom told me to get paper towels. So, yeah. That really bothered me. But hey, my mom got paper towels. In fact, between that, doing the dehumidifier, and taking in the garbage, those are my acts of kindness. My high was yesterday's Hot Ones episode where I learned a lot about Lewis Hamilton. Let's get into that, shall we? So, actually, here's another part of my low. I had to speed run through writing my notes because yesterday I watched the episode and I'm writing my notes as I'm going, right? And when I turned off my computer, I forgot to save. So I had to pretty much do it all over again. Well, to an extent. Basically, I'm going to try this new format to see if it works. Because what I would normally do is I write the question that Sean Evans asks, and then I would type in the answer and then go over it. What I did here is I pretty much took keywords from each question and answer, and then I'm going to try and relay it back to you guys. So here we go. For the first one, they talked about what his biggest pet peeve is regarding making racing movies, and that's the fact that it's hard to capture the actual speed of a race because, you're using the camera's got to be on a truck that clearly can't move as fast as a car, so you gotta use the camera to keep an eye on the car. Basically, the only real way to capture how fast a race goes is if you do what they do in NASCAR when you watch on TV and you see the camera from way far away, and then you're able to see the race from there. Which you're able to see how fast it goes, but you can't see cameras inside the car. You can't really do anything like you can in a movie, so that's pretty hard. They talked about what racing weight is and how 10 kilograms can make the difference between 2 or 3 0.25 to 3/10 of a second. And then he talked about how, you sweat it out because it's very hot in those cars, and some racers legit pee in their cars, which is disgusting, but hey, actually, I would think that doesn't really do anything in the realm of getting rid of weight, because even when you pee in the car, the weight is still there. It's just not your body anymore. I would think that doesn't really help much. But, okay. He talked about how this one place in this one course called Maggots and Beckett's is more treacherous, but it's not that Lewis Hamilton finds it treacherous. It's the fact, he's a thrill seeker. And that just happens to be a thrill that he goes over. He talked about how, the times when he's most at conflict with the car, which is when Sean Evans really reworded it, he said, when is it most you want the car to do something that the car can't do? And that's when, really it's all throughout the race, but really in the beginning, which is, interesting. This is actually one of my favorite parts. They brought back Explain That Graham. For those of you guys who don't know, explained that Graham was a very well-liked and highly recurring segment on Hot Ones for a long time. Basically, they did a deep dive of the guest's Instagram page, and they look at certain pictures, and the guest would tell the bigger story. But here there was a theme, because Lewis Hamilton is a cute bulldog named Roscoe. So I got to see a puppy. Puppies. Oh, I love puppies. Oh, puppies are cute. Puppies are weakness of mine, you see. Kitties are also weakness of mine, you see. But in this case, it was puppies. And it was a cute bulldog named Roscoe. Which, you know what? For a bulldog, Roscoe is a very fitting name. I have to say. So, shout out to Lewis Hamilton on properly naming a bulldog. Well done. There was one moment where Lewis Hamilton mentioned how, for sort of like a pre-race thing, Roscoe would literally poop in front of other racers' motorhomes. Oh, I laughed harder at that than I should have. Okay, so after that there was they talked about the mindset of the underdog versus a well-known veteran or a champion. Basically, it's either hunter or hunted mentality. Obviously, hunted would be the underdog. Hunter would be the veteran and the champ. And yeah, I can definitely see why, because if you're the underdog, there are people who are rooting for you, but the expectations are low. Whereas if you're a veteran or a champ, and you're the leader of a race, there's that much more pressure on you, because what if something goes wrong? Maybe you could maybe you can get into a crash. Maybe there are so many variables that can happen. So, and it can be taxing. It can absolutely be taxing. And not just in racing either, but literally in all sports. I can genuinely tell you, especially as a Cowboys fan, there have been times in my Dallas Cowboys when the underdogs in the game, and and there were games where they were legitimately expected to win. And it was absolutely amazing when they were the underdogs and they won. And it absolutely sucked when they lost to a team they had no business losing to. First playoff, division, the wild card round. Anyway, yeah, sometimes it's very exhausting being a Cowboys fan. Anyway, he talked about racetrack attire and how it's becoming, or while it's becoming more mainstream, when Lewis Hamilton first looked at racing attire, he thought man, those tracksuits, those are really cool. But then they're becoming more mainstream. Now everyone's wearing them. Now they're not as cool, which I find kind of funny. And I mean, it's definitely helping bridge the gap between racing and the general public. Which listen, I say all the time, stuff like food, religion, and music brings people together. So does fashion. It really does. So yeah, build bridges, not walls, folks. When he got to the bottom, he talked about the worst surfing accident he was in, where from this story, his board breaking was the least of his problems. He's literally under the water, hanging onto a reef, and he hears wave after wave after wave, 4 giant waves. He can hear them crashing while hanging onto a reef. That's insane. He nearly drowned, which is beyond crazy. He talked about what happens when people see him driving in public. Sometimes they're legitimately amazed that he's out in public at all. But also, very rarely on occasion, some people really will rev up their engines wanting to race him. Which, folks, don't drag race. Ever. Unless you're on RuPaul's Drag Race. That's okay. Yeah, it's not like RuPaul's Drag Race. That show is awesome. Seriously, there are drag queens on that show that can teach women a thing or two about being fierce, okay? I'll say that much, all right? I personally can never... You know, it's actually kind of funny I bring that up considering tomorrow starts Pride Month. Hey. Okay, so the last dad experience was defining a few terms like, well, blistering is, he said his mouth was on fire. That's what blistering is. But then he talked about lift and coast, which is a safe fuel. It saves fuel regarding braking, like at a certain distance. And then he talked about marbles, which is like the debris of tires. Oh yeah, I mean, when they say burn rubber on the track, they're not kidding around. They do a lot. And it's insane. So, yeah, this was a great episode of Hot Ones for sure. And honestly, it's a perfect segue to talk about today. Because it's May 31st. It is the last day of the month of May. And I don't know at what, I can barely recall when I ever really got grandfathered into doing this, but talking about what's happened in each and every month, it feels like the right thing to do. I mean, especially when here's the thing. For those of you guys who don't already know, I lost my grandmother in April. And that was the one bad thing that happened. But it was just so it was something of great magnitude, if that makes sense. So what kept April from being outright horrible was, I mean, that was only one thing that happened, but also there were people who actually came to my support when my grandmother died. And in this day and age, you know, you want to surround yourself with people who lift you up rather than bring you down. So, this is the first full calendar month, May 1st to May 31st, without my grandmother. And I can tell you that everyone in my family is still feeling the sting from it. However, I can tell you that this month was exactly what I needed. I mean, from the very beginning, that first Friday, when I was invited to go out to this one place called Sunny's after I had dinner at Nick's, like, that was awesome. And then there was that jazz band that played over at Illegal. Not to mention I went to Cheese Fest. Oh, Cheese Fest was awesome. At the Griston Brewing Company. And I went to that one benefit for that one investigator who got run over, who's actually doing better now. I mean, he's still got a ways to go in recovery. But he really almost died. That's how bad it was. But he's in recovery and he's doing really good. In fact, they let him out for a weekend. That's pretty good. So, yeah. And not to mention, I don't normally do this, but I gotta give a shout out to a dear friend of mine who literally spent I don't know how much money, but she made 100 sort of goodie bags for the homeless. That is awesome. Insert Tina Turner song here, awesome, okay? Because she's simply the best. Okay, and, I mean, listen, if I want even further vindication of how great this month was, we're back up at the lake. We are back up at Cuba Lake, right? Oh, I'm not there at the moment, but we opened up our cottage and I was just there. In fact, I'm going to be heading there this afternoon. So, yeah, tomorrow's video, I'm going to be up at the lake. And considering not just, the month I had, or, the month and a half up to when I went up there, my grandma died and everything. The whole year, from literally October 1st to May 24th. Yeah, the 24th is a Friday. Considering everything I had between October 1st and May 24th, I mean, there were a lot of great things. In fact, again, I can now say this has been the best. Hold on. August, September, October, November, December, May, January, February, March. Best 10 months of my life. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it is now officially been the best 10 months of my life. But everything up until May 24th, I'm like, you know what? I've been away from Cuckoo Lake long enough. Like, don't even bother calling. Like, seriously, it was so awesome being up at Cuckoo Lake. I don't even remotely feel the worse for wear regarding the fact that Claudia Hoyser canceled the Swits because of rain. I mean, yeah, it would have been awesome to see Claudia Hoyser. But, you know, it was just, like, it felt right being up there. And even considering what happened last night, you know, it's still going to be nice up there anyway. For those of you wondering, I said something nice. Really, it was either getting food. Because here's the thing: up until like tomorrow evening, I'm pretty much going to be up there by myself the entire day. And it was either I get paper towels for my mom or I get something to eat for myself. But I couldn't afford both. So I got paper towels. And trust me, if you know my mom, she'd give me a lot of shit if I didn't get paper towels. So, for better or for worse, I got her paper towels. I mean, I did have $19 left, but what am I going to get for $19? Especially when, you know, again, like, I couldn't afford anything. I mean, a couple bags of chips maybe? Like 1 6-pack of soda? I mean, that'd be good, I guess, but it really wouldn't be much. I don't know. I may do with something, I guess. But, yeah. I can genuinely tell you it's been the best 10 months of my life. And hopefully, hold on. Oh, I say hopefully. You know, June is already poised to be awesome because, again, it is Pride Month, which, yes, I'm a Pride ally. Are you kidding me? So, if anyone from, okay, do I have to say okay, I mean to ask this, do I have to say all the letters? Can I just say the Pride community? I'm pretty sure that'd be okay. Well, if anyone from the Pride community is watching me or watching these videos, know that this is a safe space. You know, no bashing here or none of that. Don't do that. I mean, personally, I'm straight. That's not my style, but that's okay. I will never yuck on anyone's yum. That's not what I do. So, know that if you find yourself watching these videos, know that you are in a safe space. Thank you. But I'll touch more upon that tomorrow. If I can remember doing that tomorrow. I hope you like this video. Seriously, like, the last several years, I've tried to be more active in celebrating Pride Month. I've royally sucked at it. So, hopefully this is the year I finally do it right. But we'll have to see. I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe to the YouTube channel on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video. For all you guys watching Joe video, hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to channel, we're going to be here to let you know back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby. Happy Friday, folks.